swim in that corner wall. Be sure not take as I'm tweaking this bitch, so letting shit go. And I heard that she wanna show. Me she be, I'm kinda fucking with it, show me some more.
All right. Another phenomenal intro. It's too easy when you got, the pipes like that to back it up. Like I said, Jello, get remixed on the beat so I don't get dinged. That's how we're starting off every Banter and Bangers, especially episode 7, like we have right now. So a lot's gone on. A lot has happened since we last spoke. Huge card this past weekend. Huge. Huge card coming up this weekend. Huge. Good card, though, coming up this weekend. And we got a little MVP announcement. So we're MMA. That's what we're going to focus on. But I do have to address the elephant in the room first. As you see, I'm wearing another fresh Arsenal jersey. Saliba on the back. And we're coming off the Carabao Cup final loss to City. And it hurt. I have a lot of thoughts on it. I know this isn't like a Prem soccer coded, soccer branded channel or show. But just to be able to rant real quick, obviously missing Timber is brutal. But I think Ben White steps up really well. Missing IZZY and Odegaard, although I haven't been the biggest fan of Odegaard this season, just leaves the midfield with really no creativity. Gyökeres is what he is. Trossard is just not that athletic. I mean, he seems like he's a talented finisher at times. He has missed a few shots this year. But the biggest thing I think, besides us having no creativity in the midfield, is Saka looks like a shell of himself. I don't know what it is. I don't know if injuries have played a role, but it is tough to watch Saka these days. I mean, I'd rather have Madueke out there at this point. And I'd rather have Dowman out there at this point. But alas, let's see. Again, we're not here to talk about that. Let's see if this motivates the team to finish out the year strong and get the fucking Prem. Again, now the quad talk is done. Good. Treble stuff, I hope that's done soon. Let's focus on the Prem, and then if we could win the FA Cup, that'd be very nice. If we could win the Champions League, unfucking real. I honestly think that this year, Bayern is a little too good. Barca's going to be a tough run-in when we get to them. So I don't know. Champions League not looking good. Carabao Cup's already lost. Let's focus on the Prem. But again, fresh jersey every time. I'm going to support them. Probably this is going to be a big jersey until the end of the year. I have a bunch of Arsenal jerseys, but then we'll get into some other stuff. If Barca beats us, maybe I'll wear the Yamal jersey after, if we both get there in the Champions League. Because who knows where we're playing? Who knows if we'd even beat Sporting? And they've looked great. So, but okay, that was 3-4 minutes of ball knowledge for y'all. And we're going to have 3-4 minutes more. But not this ball. Basketball. March Madness. Because not only was I watching the UFC fights in Atlantic City, Ocean's Casino, this past weekend, but I was there to watch the opening weekend of March Madness as well. And for anybody watching the opening weekend of March Madness, I'm talking Thursday night, Friday, Saturday. Sunday I was home, so it wasn't as exciting. Sunday, good games, though. There have been a ton of good games, but if you were watching and you saw the buzzer beater by Kentucky, let me take you through the greatest beat of all time. Kentucky down by 10, 11, second half, plus 530 on the money line on FanDuel. So they come back. Then now they eventually come back. I forget how much they were down by, but they come back. It had to be a decent amount because they were plus 530. They come back. It's an even game. They have the lead. The other team has the lead. They have the lead. Other team has the lead. Finally, with 2-3 seconds left, other team hits a 3 to go ahead. We think it's over. But what does Kentucky do? a gentleman with the last name Owe. Owe. You might recognize him, his brother from the NFL. But he hits a half-court buzzer beater to send that bitch to OT. Not only do they win in OT, but they cover what I needed them to cover for a previous parlay. And that, gentlemen and ladies, is the greatest beat of all time. That is what you'd call the greatest beat of all time. Ecstasy. I don't know how else to explain it. We were going fucking berserk in the sports book. And you know everyone else wanted Kentucky to lose because it's the underdog. Everybody, if you don't have skin on the game, you're usually on the dogs. And the way the spreads were, a lot of people were just on the dog spread anyway. Not me. You got to take Kentucky when they're down to the whatever seed they were playing. Who did they play? Let's look it up real quick because I keep saying whoever they played. I could easily look it up. First round win this year. Oof, they got smashed by Iowa State, though. Oh, I lived Iowa State also when they were down to Kentucky. And then I got... Oh, Santa Clara. That's who it was. 10 seed. 7-10. I mean, Santa Clara is pretty good, but... Again, you got to live Kentucky. Blue blood type shit. But, so... Again, I had an electric weekend. But the two pinnacles are what we just talked about, Kentucky buzzer beat to Oa, and the main event of the UFC card this past weekend. Because like I said, I was in Oceans. I've been sports betting now for almost 3 straight days. And yeah, I have a friend who has a spreadsheet. He knows college basketball. We all watch college basketball. We know it a lot. But when it comes to the UFC, when it comes to MMA, heads are turning towards me and to a few of my other friends. And I'll get into what the play was later at the end when we start talking about the card. But let's just say ecstasy once again. So let's get into the card real quick. Because I think that underratedly, the crowd wasn't into it, right? And we'll get to it, but I thought it started out not too shabby. I won't lie, not too shabby. Chanel Dyer, first fight of the night, second round finish. She's sick. I just watched her interview on the Ariel Helwani show. She's a gem, very well spoken. She just seems happy to be, she is happy to be in the UFC. She's not pissed off about all this other bullshit. She just wants to be here, and she wants to knock chicks out. And that's what she did, and she got the performance bonus, especially because the card was kind of underwhelming. But we're very excited for Chanel. I will be betting on her in the future. Believe that. I was impressed. And then we get to a few, not phenomenal fights. Shamrock, sounds a lot like Shamrock. He got murked by Abdul Karim, basically blanked. My boy Louis Sutherland, I like him because he looks funny. I like him because he's British. The whole thing, it just looks so funny to me. Bosh! I feel like he looks like the Bosch dude. Big John Fury. Not John Fury, but Big John. But he got TKO in the first round. Never even looked like he had a chance. Thankfully, didn't bet on him. I really thought about betting on him. This is someone I'm pissed I didn't bet on. Montas, Contra, whatever. Two judges gave him only 2 rounds. I don't remember it that much. But he looked like a fucking savage out there. So I will be betting on him in the future for sure. And then we got the Pinto, Felipe Franco, kind of an ass fight. And then we get to the boy, Nathaniel Wood. Now let me tell you about Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood has made me money every time I've bet on him. Every time I've bet on him. I don't know what it is, but I get this, I have never bet on him when he's lost in the UFC. I don't know why. And I've always bet on him when he was the dog and won. Crazy. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was, again, like I said to you guys, I was at Sportsbook with my boys. They don't know about Losine Keita, right? Now, not that I know the most about Losine Keita. Like, I haven't watched a bunch of his fights, but I've heard a lot of people talk about him. I knew he was a double champ. Where was he a double champ? This is what I was struggling to. This is what I was struggling to talk to my friends about because I forgot where he was before that. But again, I knew that he was a champion in a previous organization. An Octagon. I knew that he had not made weight against Pitbull. He was probably going to come back trying to, again, prove himself. Regardless, what he didn't realize was he was running into an unstoppable force, an immovable object that is Nathaniel Wood at home as a UFC underdog on the betting lines. The most reliable dog of all time? I mean, I forget what he was, plus 230 or something. It was in the plus 200. But I know Nathaniel Wood, right? Did I not just say that? I know Nathaniel Wood. So I bet on him to win by decision because God knows if he wins, it's going to be by a split decision or a decision. And that's just what it was. He won 29-28 on 2 scorecards, lost 29-28 on 1 scorecard. That's a split decision victory. Cash the plus 30 ticket, plus 350 ticket. But still, regardless of the ticket, I mean, can we just get, come on. Can we give Nathaniel Wood his props? Can we give him his flat? Can we move him up the ladder? I'm sick and tired of this. And yes, he will be a UFC underdog. He will be an underdog in the betting lines the next time we see him. I'm sure of that. Because they are definitely going to move him up. That was a great performance. Scrappy. Again, I have to get the feeling to bet on him. Again, admittedly, I didn't really have that feeling, but my boys wanted to take him. I think every favorite on the card had won thus far. And when they said that, I was like, if there's going to be a dog to win on this card, if there was only going to be one dog to win on this entire card, and Nathaniel Wood is on the card as an underdog, next question. And the boys cashed. Next fight after that was the Mason Jones-Alex Sola fight. You know, they were definitely going at it. They were scrapping. I can't lie. I didn't watch that much of it because I was on such a high from Nathaniel Wood. I was at the cash counter. So I couldn't see the TV. But I made my way back for the main card. And so the first fight on the main card, I didn't bet on, but I had a lot of boys that bet on Curtis Campbell. I didn't know much about him. The pink shorts threw me off. He's not Patty. He's not Ian Gary. I knew of those guys before they came into the UFC. This guy, not really sure. And it was a pretty good first round. It looked like he probably had it, but then what's his name? Danny Silva was able to just weather the storm, weather the grappling, and then got a finish. So not much going on there. Then next fight, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Roman Dolidze. I was pretty confident Christian Leroy Duncan was going to win this fight, but I would have thought KO. I thought Dolidze would have maybe won the first round, went all out, but Christian Leroy Duncan's just so huge. And I thought that if he could weather the storm, he would get him out of there later. But credit to Dolidze, man. He stayed in there. It was insane. But I thought definitely Christian Leroy Duncan won that fight. I don't know if there were people that thought otherwise, but I was like 100% confident when they were reading the scorecards out that was going to be a CLD victory. Next fight after that was the Iwo versus Austin Lane. Austin Lane was always destined to die in this fight. Can we be honest? But 30 seconds in, I think we got a new guy in Iwo. How do you say his name? I don't know. But Austin Lane just looked like he wasn't, he was out of his depths, we'll say. But congratulations, because it really does look like Iwo is going to be a big player. here's where we get to the top 3 fights, right? And here's where we get to the first leg of my 2-fight parlay. MVP to win. I wasn't going to risk MVP to win by decision, although I should have because of the past fights and, as you know, because of this fight. But I thought maybe Sam Patterson really was such a mismatch for him. Maybe he was that much better than Sam Patterson, so much more experience, and he's pretty due for a knockout, that I just wanted to go with MVP money line, which he was a favorite, and for me it was never in doubt. I knew he was going to win the fight before. Again, obviously things can happen, but I knew he was going to win the fight. And when we were watching, I knew he was going to win on the scorecards. Obviously, they're both British, but there wasn't too much home cooking, as we'll talk about a little bit later from the judges. And I just thought he won the fight. I thought he won every round. I know 1 or 2 judges gave one of the rounds to Sam Patterson. I don't think that that's true. I think he won every round. And he's had his issues. You know, he's spoken up about this matchup, about fighter pay. He's spoken up about. He had a little Michael Jackson, like, they don't care about us type song that he walked into. And I listened to his interview on Ariel's show, and he did say that a big part of why he chose that song isn't just what happened in the UFC with him, but also what's going on in the world just in general. That could be true. And it's a great message because obviously there are people in higher powers that don't care about normal citizens like ourselves. But it was impressive to see him on the Ariel show. He just kind of ate the punches. You know, he said he was also disappointed in his performance. You know, the home crowd was booing him in London, or booing them, I should say. But I think a lot more people blame MVP than Sam Patterson. So, you know, MVP, great guy. Happy to have him in the sport. Happy to have him in the UFC because I want to see him fight good guys. And so he was saying that he needs to know what weight class the UFC would be willing to give him, like, a nice little title run shot in, 170 or 185, welterweight or middleweight. And we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I hope that he gets his chance to go for gold because I think he deserves it. Would I like to see him throwing Pokeballs at bulls on the MVP card? Yes. Yes, I would. Bring the Pokeballs back. Bring the showmanship back. We miss you in your truest form, MVP. I wish they'd let you do that in the UFC. But if they don't renew your contract, he said he has 1 fight left, let's throw some Pokeballs on the MVP Netflix card. You're a Netflix guy. You're a Netflix guy. They got One Piece on Netflix. You fit right in. A lot of anime on Netflix, so he loves anime. Let's see. And then this is a fight that was not part of my parlay. I wasn't sure of Luke Riley. Now, he did dominate, for sure. Easily won the fight. And if you had taken those three, the decisions for all 3 of the last fights, would have been 4 fights, I guess, last 4 fights. Again, this card was pretty boring. But not when you're in a sportsbook drunk and you're sweating out a lay. So Luke Riley, again, solid 15 minutes. I thought Aswell honestly looked good. I thought they looked pretty even at a lot of points. But in the end, I understand Luke Riley winning. Maybe he didn't win all 3 rounds, but on the judges' scorecards, he did. Hometown. He had Patty in his corner. They've been together for a while. Let's see if the UFC gives him a push. Let's see if they throw him up there. It's a weight class where you can really make some shit happen. So we'll see. He's a Scouser, and it doesn't look like he's going to get knocked out. And here's where we get to the second leg. The last leg of our large parlay. A lot of money on these parlays, on this parlay. And that was for Evloev to win. And my God, I thought he lost. Draw at best. Sitting in the sportsbook, especially because he wasn't wrestling and you expect him to wrestle, I thought he lost the first 3 rounds. Maybe third round he could have won. But then I forget if the nut shot came in the third or fourth round. I really thought it was the third round. Maybe, okay, it was in the fourth round. So, yes. So, I thought Murphy won the first 3 rounds in the sports book. Like, that's what I was thinking. The fourth round started, I was like, he needs a finish. Maybe they gave him another round. But then fourth round, he gets the point deducted, and I'm like, okay, finisher, it's chalked. Finisher, it's either, again, because for me, if it's a draw, I lose the bet. And if he loses, I lose the bet. So, yes, I really thought that Lerone won the first 3 rounds. And then third round, I was like, okay, third round it could be either or, but probably Murphy. He's at home. I can't hear the commentary because we're listening. The basketball games are more prevalent. So I'm like, probably give the third round to Lerone, although I could see it being either way. Fourth round, point deduction, but then Evloev just takes over. He clearly wins the fourth round, clearly wins the fifth round, in my opinion. Taking him down so easily. And my thing is, all right, we'll get to the reason he didn't box after I tell you. But so, fight ends. We're all looking at each other. We're like, there's no shot. And again, we can't even hear the scorecards being read out. So we just see fucking Buffer point his fucking cards right at Evloev. Evloev's arms go up. Our arms go up. We can't fucking believe it. We can't believe it. It was insanity. I really didn't think he won. We really didn't think he won. Again, draw at best, I thought. Now, I haven't gone back and rewatched it because I'm not a psycho. Because it was an okay fight, but I didn't love the fight. And also, I now understand. I understand because, well, what I don't understand actually is because I've seen the judges. Yeah, no, I think the decision was still wrong, actually. Let me say that. Because I would think that 2 judges gave MOVSAR the first round. I thought definitely Lerone won. I get that it wasn't like the most stamped round, but watching it, I was like 1 and 2 Lerone. And then again, I was always back and forth on 3, 4, and 5. So if you're telling me MOVSAR won 3, the third round, I was just in a bad mood. Probably because he had just lost the first 2 in my head. And then the third was close. So if you're telling me the third he won, that means that I thought first 2 for Lerone, third and fifth clearly for MOVSAR, and then fourth a draw, which would mean the fight's a draw. And that's what most people are saying, right? That I think most people are saying that the decision was wrong because it should be a draw. But you know, if 2 judges gave Evloev the first round too. So we go fucking nuts. Let's go. Evloev. We're going crazy. I don't even know if that's how you say his name. MOVSAR. Now, let me get to, again, ticket cashes. We're elated. But let me get to why, I think that MOVSAR clearly fought without wrestling to impress the UFC brass. Obviously, if he gets a knockout, that locks in his title chances. And I think if he's thinking that if he just wrestles him for 5 rounds and can't get a submission, then he probably, and wins anyway, he's not going to get a title shot anyway. He's seeing John Silva in the first row. He's like, okay, they're not going to give me a title shot if I wrestle. And if I can't finish him, so might as well just try and strike, make it exciting. And if I can win and not knock him out, at least it was a striking battle for however long. And that is pretty sad. That is pretty sad, to be honest, because, well, one, I'm betting on you, sir. I'm fucking betting on you, and you're not trying your hardest to win the fight. And that's a problem. That's a problem for the sport, I think. Because I think a lot of people are in this sport. Not me. I do love the sport regardless. But I do think a lot of people are in this sport because of the gambling aspect. And if there keeps being like these kind of rigged fights that are kind of sus, we don't know about with all these line changes. And if fighters are going to start fighting differently than they have in the past, fighting to less than their capabilities, people are going to be more hesitant to gamble on the sport. I mean, imagine if you bet on the Patriots, but Drake May was like, yeah, today I don't think I'm going to throw it. I think I'm just going to run it today to make the game more fun. I mean, people would be freaking the fuck out about that. So, I don't know. We'll see how big of an issue it is, but it does seem like it doesn't even seem like MOVSAR might, it doesn't seem like. We'll see what happens. Will he get the title shot? Will he not get the title shot? Who knows? Did this pay off? Did this not pay off? Regardless, he got the win. So, but again, I think if he took him down and submitted him in the second round, that would have been better. But I get maybe you can't risk that with this current UFC regime. And again, like I said, that's pretty sad. Now I want to get to something that's not sad. Something that's very exciting, actually. And that is the full announcement of the MVP card. So we know of Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, right? We knew Francis and Felipe Lins. I don't know if... I think last week we talked about Nate Diaz and Mike Perry. If we didn't, I'm very excited for that fight. I understand they're both past their prime for sure, but Mike Perry is in shape, and he's going to come at Nate Diaz. And can Nate Diaz weather the storm? Can Nate Diaz take him down and grapple? This is MMA. We haven't seen either of them in MMA for so long. It's going to be an absolute treat. I can't wait. But I do think that we covered that. Two legends. So let's get to the rest of the card, the rest of the announcements. First, we got JDS, Junior Dos Santos versus Robles de España. Now, if you're not familiar when I say JDS, hopefully you are familiar, former UFC champion, old. Let's see how old JDS is. How old do you guys think he is? I'm going to say 43. Okay. 42. All right. Younger than I thought. Old versus Robles de España, who is literally a fucking giant. He's been in Karate Combat. He's massive, massive heavyweight. I forget, he knocked out the heavyweight champion of Karate Combat, Smiley Sam Alvey, I think his name is. So unfortunately, that looks like it might not be competitive either. But it's a fun, weird heavyweight fight. They're two massive dudes on the top of the bill also, so that's fun. Muhammad Makaya versus Adriano Moraes. So if you remember Adriano, he was the dude that knocked out Mighty Mouse, but then Mighty Mouse knocked him out. And Fly's kind of been doing away with a bunch of their MMA stuff. Perfect opportunity. Muhammad Makaya, if you remember, kicked out of the UFC. He's been doing a bunch of side quests since. High-level MMA. That is high-level MMA. And then we got Parnassi versus Kenneth Cross. Again, underrated fight. Gonna be a banger. High-level, low-key MMA. It's going to be better than people think. And then I won't lie. I don't know much about Lorenz Larkin and Jason Jackson. Was Jason Jackson in the PFL? Hold up. Maybe I do. Yes, Jason Jackson was in the PFL. I believe. Yes. Okay, awesome. I had him last time he fought. I bet on the other guy, Gene, he's a beast. He's an up-and-comer. Okay, Lorenz Larkin. Who's he? Let's look it up live in real time, guys. Who cares, right? Lorenz Larkin. You guys don't know who this is, do you? Last time he fought was Bellator. Sheesh, 2024. All right. Another okay real MMA fight. But then we got Alex Pereira's sister, just lit up, and then we got Albert Morales, and then after that we got, I don't really know, Nemo Fazil versus Jake Babian, but then we got Chris Avila. I mean that's Nate's boy. He doesn't have a matchup yet. Let's see if they get someone weird or fun or something to I don't know. Like, what if they get, like, Dylan Dennis or some shit? You know what I mean? They could get someone. Anyway, I started out by saying that this is not sad, and it's not. It's very exciting. It's not real competition to the UFC, but it's nice to be able to be excited and watch MMA on such a large. Again, I watched PFL this past weekend. Who else did raise their hand? And I only watched like the last 4 fights. We're not even talking about it on this show because there's just not enough time. But Fabian Edwards loses in the championship to the dude who's defending his belt. And then I forget who the fight before was, but I had a bet on that to go the distance, and that was cashed. But next weekend maybe in Pittsburgh, they have Eblin and Brian battle, which is going to be fun. But anyway, where do you watch those? ESPN Plus, sometimes on ESPN2. Like, the best part about MVP about this is that it's on Netflix, on big platforms, easily accessible, just like Paramount, but even more so. It's exciting times. I hope that MVP puts on 2 of these minimum a year. I would really juice things up. So let's keep the good vibes going, right? Let's keep the good vibes going. We're going into a tremendous card this weekend for the UFC. Again, I think that this is a great card, underrated card, especially with a lot of the stuff coming out recently. We got Adrian Yanez on this card. Again, this is in Seattle, too. Seattle loves their fighting. Adrian Yanez versus Ricky Simon. Gotta assume that that's going to be a back and forth fight. Anyone can win type thing. Probably lean Yanez, but we'll see. Then we got Bruno Lopez versus Navajo Sterling. Navajo is a fucking prospect and a half. Gotta assume Navajo's going to come away with that one. And what a name, Navajo. Then we got Casey O'Neill, Gabriela Fernandez. Casey. I've always been a Casey O'Neill fan, so hopefully she does well. And then we got like a weird heavyweight fight. Marcin Tybura, Tyrell Fortune. Don't know much about Tyrell. Marcin Tybura has always just been around, been up there. It's UFC heavyweight MMA, guys. That's what it is. Chase Hooper versus Lance Gibson up next. Hopefully Chase can get a win here. People forget he's getting older still. He's hanging around. Not really on the main card of stuff yet, but, I think that with a few more solid wins, people like him enough where he could really gain momentum. So, we'll see. Then Ignacio Bahamondes. Give him a tough matchup with Tawfiq Musayev. Bahamondes, I don't know. It's hard. I think he should be great, but sometimes he doesn't perform to his abilities, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully Ignacio can get a win. I think he will. You know what? I think he will. They both have 6 wins. Ignacio 17-6. Tawfiq a little bit more experienced, 22-6. But someone I know will get a win in the main card as it starts. Actually, I don't know if he'll get a win, but I know it's going to be a phenomenal fight, and I know there's going to be a finish early on either side, and that's Terrence McKinney. He's going up against Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson, not, as far as obviously no one matches Terrence McKinney's pace. He's going to come out there and he's going to try and kill you immediately. But hopefully Kyle Nelson's game. Hopefully he's not running. And hopefully we see a first-round KO on either side, like I said. Someone I know will win, Mansour Abdul Malik, one of the hottest prospects right now. We'll see what happens. He is going up against Yusri Belgaru. I don't know much about him. I'm not going to lie. Then Julian Erosa, Lauren Douglas. Don't know much about these guys. No lie. And I don't want to cap for you guys. But then we get to Michael Chiesa, Nico Price. Chiesa's been saying that this is his last fight. I really hope, he's from Seattle. I hope he can go out on top, retire in front of his fans. Nico is one to sometimes spoil the party as a dog, so that would blow. But hopefully Chiesa can wrestle his way to a nice little decision. Maybe his choke would be crazy. In front of the home fans, man, they'd go nuts. Then we got Alexa Grasso, Macy Barber. This is an important fight. This is a fight with real stakes. Macy wins, she goes on. Alexa to maybe fight for the belt next. Alexa wins. She's right back in the title picture. I think Macy's going to take it. She's been hot. Alexa hasn't been as good as she once was. I think Macy's going to mix it up and, take a victory, probably a decision, honestly. Then the main event, which I love, Izzy versus Joe Pyfer. I think this is a great matchup because this is really like where are we at, Izzy? I think it's Izzy. It's either going to be an Izzy masterclass where he stays along the fence, pieces him up, maybe gets a finish, but probably like 5-round decision where he dominates, that type of thing. But Pyfer hits like a fucking truck. And the way Izzy's been getting knocked out, I'm scared. I hope Izzy wins by decision, but I'm feeling a Joe Pyfer knockout, just the way it's been going. But hopefully, he has a y'all must have forgot moment. Izzy comes in, shows that he hasn't lost a step, shows that he's still that guy, and he can just keep main eventing, get big names, big fights, and if one day he falls back into the title picture, that'd be great. Although I don't think anyone's beaten Hamzat. I'm not going to lie, guys. But so that pretty much closes it out. A lot of picks there for you guys. A lot of opinions. We talked about the last UFC card, my experience, MVP card. We talked about the upcoming UFC card. So we covered a lot in a crisp, a little over a half hour. I know people's attention span. We can't go for hours. I could go for hours. What do you guys want to talk about? You want to talk more about soccer, Arsenal, football? You want to talk about how maybe the Giants might sign Odell Beckham Jr. and it's never made me happier in my life? And if they do sign him, then I'm going to wear the jersey on the stream? Or on the YouTube video? Is that what you want me to talk about? Wait, what is that? And that's the shoulder. Shout out Jim Skin. Shout out all the supporters. Let's get it done, Izzy. I'll talk to you guys next week. Banter and bangers. We out.
And I heard that she wanna show.